What is an appropriate age gap in Christian dating? Oh! What is an appropriate age gap? Look, it changes. What is appropriate changes depending on the age bracket that we're talking about, right? When somebody is under 18, then they should really be sticking to someone basically their age, in their school year, right? Maybe a year up, maybe a year down, but really no more than that, just because the differences between a couple of years when you're very young is huge. And obviously we want to be staying within the law as well. Someone who is a legal minor should not be dating somebody who is not. So that's for under 18. When you get to over 18, really, the difference of 6 years between an 18-year-old and a 24-year-old is massive, where the difference of 6 years between a 30-year-old and a 36-year-old is really quite small. I think rather than thinking about actual ages, when it comes to those sort of younger, in your 20s kind of thing, think about the stage you're at. Are you studying? Yeah, maybe you should date someone who's a student. They may be a couple of years older, maybe a couple of years younger, but they're in your same stage of life. If you're working, then maybe, somebody who's also in their 20s who's working, right? I think ideally, you want somebody who can relate to you, who you relate to. I think often it's in that common stage of life that you find relationships work best. It also means you're more likely to want to progress at the same rate, because you may well want to finish studying and then get established in work before you start talking about making a commitment in marriage or having children or any of those things. So being aligned in your stage of life offers some protection. When it comes to bigger age gaps, we've all heard the sort of typical divide your age by 2 and add 7. I would say it really depends on the person. I think it's a shame if you're dating somebody who is vastly different to you in terms of their level of maturity, in terms of their level of life experience. And I would discourage you from dating someone where there's a huge disparity on those things, because you don't want to end up being a parent to them, and you also don't want to end up being parented by them. You want an equal relationship, right? Where you both bring things to the table. Obviously, I've come across it, you've come across it, where there are some really phenomenal age gaps, and sometimes it really does work, but I don't think it should be held up as the standard. And I think, if I'm honest, when we've been filming Third Wheel Dates, I found it very frustrating when I've spoken to men in their 50s or even into their 60s who've asked to be matched with someone who's 35 because they'd still like to have children. I can find that incredibly frustrating when really there are some beautiful, outstanding, women who are followers of Jesus, who are successful, who would really match them, who are closer to their age, even, marginally younger, who they would reject. And I think we can miss out on amazing things by expecting the people we date to be in a certain age range. If somebody is a match for you in terms of their emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, maturity, all of those things, and you can have a great conversation, that's really the heart of what we're looking at. Also, you kind of know when it feels weird. You just know. You don't need an age, you don't need a number. You know when it's a bit weird, because you'll tell your friends their age and they'll go, oh. So look, you be the judge, you decide, you base it on your connection, but don't force something that ultimately doesn't feel right.